A federal judge has rejected Donald Trump's attempt to delay allowing transgender people to enlist in the military. This is what the judge has to say, quote, having carefully considered all of the evidence before it, the court is not persuaded that defendants will be irreparably injured by allowing the accession of transgender individuals into the military beginning on January 1st, 2018, US District Judge Colleen Collar-Cottley wrote in her decision. The Pentagon confirmed that it will begin processing the applicants on the first of the year as planned. Now, of course, the Defense Department has issued their own statement saying that they will respect this decision, but they also will be moving forward to pursue relief. This is what they have said in a statement. The DOD and the Department of Justice are actively pursuing relief from those court orders in order to allow an ongoing policy review scheduled to be completed before the end of March. You guys probably remember we covered it on the show that in July on Twitter, Donald Trump said that due to some sort of fictional medical costs and money issues that trans people would no longer be allowed to serve in the military. But he did this without consulting the Pentagon or the Department of Justice. It kind of was this random spur of the moment policy decision. And this is what's also worth noting. It had only been a year since the Defense Department determined it would permit transgender recruits, a conclusion reached under the then Defense Secretary Ash Carter following an exhaustive study. So right now they're estimate around 15,000 trans people serving in the military. Some are not out, some are.
It's a very, very small percentage.
Yeah, it's an incredibly small percentage. Yeah. It's almost a negligible cost financially. I think that's been disproved by objective sources. What I think was interesting about this story, seeing it released, is that it sort of was just sort of out there. I was looking for news stories to cover on the show, and I didn't really see this trending so much. It was being reported on, obviously, we're talking about it here, and there are a number of different news sites that you can read more detailed coverage on. But I think it's interesting that it affirms to me how much of a distraction out of nowhere Donald Trump's tweet was.
It was virtue signaling, just at its finest for his base. Like, and I remember, I think it happened on a Friday, so it was like a Friday Trump dump type of thing, because the whole Mueller investigation is going on, and he does this every once in a while to appease his base and kind of fire them up.
Well, perhaps appease the base, but I don't think that it was an issue that his base was actively considering or had an issue with.
Right, but it's one of those things that you throw out there, and it's gonna all of a sudden it's gonna distract everyone on both the left and the right. And that's exactly what it did for a while.
Yeah, I think it was.
And we had all these debates, and we had to pull up all these numbers to prove that like trans people serve just as well as any other person.
Right.
And look, at the end of the day, it's not even worth having this argument, because one side they refuse to accept anything other than being transgender is a mental illness. And based off that mental illness, that supposed mental illness, they are not fit to serve in any capacity.
Yeah, I mean, you see that now.
How can you argue with someone that's their argument?
No, you can't. I mean, that's
because we fundamentally disagree. The other side fundamentally disagrees with that. That's not true. It's not a mental disorder to feel that way.
Well, what they bring up is like gender dysphoria and how it's currently categorized, and it's such a misunderstanding for what gender dysphoria is, because you know that I myself experienced gender dysphoria, and dysphoria to a certain extent, it's not a debilitating. Anyway, so they're different gradations. I don't even want to validate that by getting into it. I think what this affirmed for me was just how much of a distraction this was when it was just tweeted out of nowhere, and how we all, the whole media, everyone fell for it. But I guess you kind of have to, because it's such a damaging thing to tweet out. You have to address it. You have to have people that come down and say like, no, this is not right. This is discriminatory, and it's not based in fact. And there's nothing behind this. But at the same time, it's just like, man, it's so disheartening to know that anytime that we're breaking some ground on an issue of substance, at any point in time, this administration could just throw a totally wild curveball, and we're all gonna have to just go fetch and deal with that over there. And it also is affirming to know, I'm just looking at a silver lining here, that the judicial branch of the government, because remember there is the executive, and then there's judicial. There are so many different branches of government. Legislative.
There's 3 branches.
But then they also say that the free press is another like arm, is like the 4th branch of government as well, like to monitor that. I know that. I took a US history class in Belgium, so I know it. And I think it's just good to know that the judicial branch is stepping up and taking the measures they can to make sure that this administration isn't infringing on the rights of Americans who want to serve and put their lives on the line for their country.
Right, cool.
Okay, well, I think we nailed that. I'm sure that this is gonna be a really peaceful conversation in the comment section below, because anytime we cover trans issues, everyone's super respectful. Seriously, please, let's try and have a coherent and constructive argument if that's what you so wish. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we will see you next time on Pop Trigger. Hey, Amir's Head.